This is the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with your host, Vicki Davis.
Let's get on with the hot announcements everybody's talking about. First, let's talk about all the news people are buzzing about. Not only is Microsoft bringing AI to students under age 18, as we shared on last week's show with Microsoft guru Mike Folfson, but so is Google. Yes, Google is releasing Gemini and Gems and also 30 free tools to every version of Google Classroom out there. That means all of us using Google Classroom will need to get up to speed on some incredible tools like vocabulary lists and quiz makers. So tip number 1, get inside the AI updates in your school's tools of choice and see what's available before you purchase the EdTech tools for this school year. You might already have what you need. Tip number 2, if you're using Google Classroom, definitely learn how to do the AI rubric conversion. This alone will save you hours. For all you Microsoft folks, you need to be checking out their new Teach platform. Google Canvas is a tool that helps with writing and could be available to your students to give feedback. But here's the catch. It can also write for them. So you'll want to determine what you make available or not to your students and how. And you can do that by age range. Tip number 3, plan how you're going to train your teachers on all these new tools. You can use tutorial videos in small groups as well as bringing in a speaker. Mix it up. You'll also need to work closely with your IT department because when I've dug into these tools, many of them do not have monitoring on the teacher side. But the IT administrator has the monitoring capability for the chats. So tip number 4 is to have a test group for all these new tools. Create test students and see what happens when you pose as a student who wants to self-harm, for example. See how the AI responds and if it notifies the appropriate people. You can do some really useful things with the new notebook tools released by both Google with their Notebook LM and Microsoft's upgrades to their OneNote tool. Recently, I took our school handbook and loaded it along with common bell schedules and other internal documents into a Google Notebook LM. Now, my administrators can literally chat with a school handbook as they're advising students. I typed, "What is the dress code for 8th grade girls?" It gave me citations and page numbers I could go to with just a click. It's like having a smart assistant who's memorized every single policy. Tip number 5 is start by loading internal documents into the notebook tool of your choice and share it with administrators. Watch their jaws drop when they realize they can chat with all those policies. The greatest advancements out there are helping students know how to study better. You'll want to dig into the opportunities for students to use AI as a study tutor in the tool of your choice and educate students on the difference between getting answers and getting help. Tip number 6, educate your students on how to turn AI into a study tutor, not an answer machine. Finally, there is a lot of conversation from the MIT Media Lab's article, Your Brain on ChatGPT. Now, while the sample size, just 54 participants, has brought up some real concern, the story has basically gone viral. They used EEGs to record participants' brain activity to assess their cognitive engagement and cognitive load as they were learning. Interjecting AI too early into the learning process can truly harm learning. In their research, they say, quote, "The brain-only group exhibited the strongest, widest-ranging networks in their brain, followed by the search engine group, which showed intermediate engagement. The LLM to brain participants, which means the AI was trying to teach students or do the work for them, that was by far the weakest." Now, note that the researchers themselves said that this is a preliminary guide and it has not been peer-reviewed. It was performed with ChatGPT and no other tools. It kind of speaks to where we are today that a non-peer-reviewed paper with only 54 participants has gone viral. And we need to consider how we are looking at AI research, because this should just be preliminary. It also does mean, though, that jumping into heavy AI use with students could possibly harm learning. So be careful. We know this. A Pew Research study said that 26% of teens are using AI for schoolwork, but 79% of teenagers know what ChatGPT is. In the absence of guidelines for educators, many students are making up their own guidelines. Tip number 7, Educate students on this initial research. Discuss it with them. Let them talk about it in class. They need to understand how their brains work. Tip number 8, when you teach, start with lids down and engaging on a topic. Have a hook and start class in ways you know are engaging. Bring AI in at the appropriate time, but don't lean on it too heavily too early. Tip number 9, make sure that every teacher at your school has an appropriate use for AI in their classroom. Let me suggest that an appropriate AI use policy should be there in all your classes as you discuss the H word. Yes, that's homework. If you don't believe that there are options to help students, though, look at Project Astra from Google, which is their AI tutor research prototype. In the video, the student is studying calculus and takes a picture of the problem and discusses it with the AI tutor on her phone. When you can train AI not to give answers but to prompt and help students, it can do better. Remember that up to 50% of U.S. high school students currently use PhotoMath, and 77% of parents use PhotoMath at least once a week when helping their kids with homework. PhotoMath is, of course, owned by Google now, so you would think that's being built into all these new tools from Google. This makes our policies and the education of parents and students important because AI should help in the process of learning and not just be about finding the right answer. If AI is an answer machine, you can count on the fact you're not learning anything. Yeah, you can quote me on that. The New York Times reported in December 2024 that the U.S. fourth graders have declined 18 points in math and eighth graders have declined by 27 points. So is it PhotoMath that's causing problems? Or is it lack of access to such tools for our lower performing students? But is it any wonder why schools are banning cell phones? It may be as much to get an environment that can focus on educating the child's brain without technology in hand as much as the social issues. Number 10, sit down and have a group of people, teachers, parents, administrators, even students, who are part of evaluating AI use. I suggest creating experimental groups and pilot programs as you roll things out to a small group of people before you scale up and roll it out to everyone. We need to be watchful, intentional, and purposeful as we look at what we're doing with technology in schools and understand that students who have a tool like ChatGPT Pro versus those who do not may actually look like they're doing better work than others when they're actually learning less. This is Vicki Davis. See you later, educator. Thanks for tuning in to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. Watch the video version of this podcast and catch my new radio and TV show, Cool Cat Teacher Talk, on YouTube and a radio or TV station near you. Join my Cool Cat Teacher Classroom Matters newsletter at coolcatteacher.com/newsletter. Leave a review if you found this helpful. See you later, educator.